Hi everyone, it's Allison from Homeopathic, and I'm very excited to be here today with the brand new release of the Dogly community and sharing the first of many workshops to come. So today kicks off the first workshop, which is all about simple ways you can set your dog up for a long and healthy life. And I know that that's kind of like the big picture. Um, and sometimes that's kind of how we need to approach these things. Sometimes we get really focused on like little nitty gritty things, but really let's look at the big picture and what things we can do to create overall long-term health. So that's what we're going to start off with today. And today's first series in the workshop is all about ditching the chemicals. And so, one of the most common chemicals that we use routinely with our pets is to prevent fleas and ticks. And with the growing population of ticks in North America, we're seeing that these preventatives are also being recommended almost year round in some places, depending on the climate. So now we're using these chemicals for even longer. And the reason that that is an issue is that in 2018, the FDA posted a warning to pet owners and veterinarians about the use of many of these products. I'm just going to read you the list of products that the FDA has issued a warning about, and then we're going to talk about a couple of them specifically. So, the FDA in 2018 issued this warning to pet owners and veterinarians about the potential for neurologic adverse effects. So, what that means is tremors and seizures and that type of thing, sometimes worse, for drugs in a specific class. And I cannot pronounce it properly, so I'm going to just post it in the post below. It's a very long name. Anyway, I'm going to read you the list here that the FDA issued the warning about, and so you can check to see if you're using any of these. So this warning includes Bravecto, the tablets and also the topical solution, Bravecto Plus, Bravecto 1 month tablets, the NexGard tablets, Simparica tablets, Simparica Trio tablets, Credelio tablets, Revolution Plus, which is the topical. So those are the main products that the FDA came out with a warning about. And then as well, in addition to that, there's also a class action lawsuit ongoing right now against Bravecto in particular. And that involves over 8,000 cases reported by pet owners and veterinarians about adverse effects related to Bravecto. So it's gone beyond just, oh, this might be an issue, this might be a concern, to the FDA actually issuing a warning, because there was enough support there, enough reports there to do that, and then following up with that a class action lawsuit. And if you and I kind of hesitate to send people to Facebook and the Google and to look things up, because there's a lot of alarmist, very skewed misinformation out there. But if you do look up Bravecto and dogs and safety, you will find one Facebook group in particular, which is quite sad, and is really there for pet parents to share their story, and there are tens of thousands of them, which is really sad. So what do we do from here? Obviously, we don't want our pets to get Lyme disease or any of the other tick-borne diseases like Ehrlichia, Anaplasmosis. Those are serious too. And so yeah, you're right. It's not something that you want to fool around with. However, Lyme can be treated. So if your pet does test positive for Lyme, the good news is that it's quite easily treated with doxycycline if it is caught early. And the other one is fleas. So how do we, keep the fleas at bay? Less of a concern, although a lot of dogs do have allergies to fleas, so then they create secondary issues if you do have fleas and they are allergic to the flea bites. So yeah, we need to make sure that we have a natural and a safe way to remedy those things. And the good news is that there are lots of options out there. And so I'm going to kind of take you through some of the options, and I'm really going to focus on specifically what I do with my own pets and what I sell through my company, Homeopathic, which is really all about natural pet products. And so there's quite a variety of options out there. There's some really great natural products being made by some really great companies out there, which is really good news for us. So the top ones that I would recommend to my clients are something called EM collars, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those after. So EM collars, which are a natural way to repel fleas and ticks. There are supplements that you can add to your pet's food. So, for example, there's a company in Ontario here, where I am, called EarthMD, and they make a really nice product called Outdoor Shield, or flea and tick preventative, and that's something that you add to your pet's food. Coconut oil is one that you can use also. Yep. And then there's also all kinds of really nice natural sprays that you can use as well. And there are sprays that you can use on your yard, and then there are sprays that you can use on your pet. So you want to make sure that whatever you're using has been developed for pets and that it is pet safe. Because even when we're using natural things like essential oils, some of those are still could be toxic or potentially harmful to your pet. So you want to make sure that you're using something that has been specifically formulated for pets. So for any of you who have been following me, you already know that basically my journey to natural pet wellness started when one of my own dogs had a reaction to chemical flea and tick preventatives over vaccination, and she just had a lot done to her at a very young age because I didn't know any better, and I was taking all of my vet's advice, of course, to heart, as any good pet parent tries to do. And then I met a really wonderful holistic vet, and he really educated me and opened my eyes. And unfortunately, a lot of the damage had been done, but I was able to reverse, a lot of the nasty side effects that she was having. It took quite a while to get to a place of being really healthy, but that's how my journey started. So I've been there, and I have actually seen what side effects of these chemicals look like, and that's why I'm so passionate about talking to other pet parents and sharing this knowledge, because I'm hoping that others can avoid having to go through the same thing that we did. So let's start off and talk about my favorite natural preventative, because one, it's natural, it's safe, it can be used on puppies, senior pets, ill pets. But one of the reasons I really love it is because it can also be used on humans. So I wear a bracelet, and a lot of my family and friends wear them as well and swear by them. These I've been using for over 5 years, and we have remained tick-free for 5 years since using these. And not only are they safe and really effective, but they're also super cute. So this is what an EM collar looks like. And so basically the active ingredient is these white clay pipes have something called effective microorganisms baked into them. And this is a technology, it's called EM technology, so short for effective microorganisms. This is a technology that was developed by a Japanese scientist, and it is widely used in places around the world, particularly Europe, where pesticides are not used in farming and agriculture. So this is a super cool technology. It does all kinds of things. So not only does it help repel fleas and ticks in a safe and natural way, it helps gardens grow, it reduces pet odors, and is widely used, like I said, in farming and agriculture to keep livestock and animals and crops healthy. So that's the big one. That's kind of our main tool that we use for flea and tick prevention, and we wear those all year round. And as I said, they are very safe. They look cute, they're stylish, they are easy to take on and off, they're easy to care for. They're made with paracord, which is like military grade paracord that's mold and mildew resistant, so they can be worn swimming, and yeah, they're really great products. So that's kind of our main tool. And then the other product that I like to use, as I mentioned, is by a company called EarthMD. And they're here, a local company to me in Ontario. But I'm sure you can find something similar to this, perhaps even in the Dogley shop or online. And it's called Outdoor Shield. It used to be called Flea and Tick Preventative. And what it is it's an herbal supplement that you add to your pet's food, and it contains things like neem, which are really great for repelling fleas and ticks. And so this is a nice natural herbal supplement that you can add to your pet's food. And then the last thing that we use is something called Fur Fresh. And this is a spray also made really close to me here in Ontario by a company called Legendary Canine. And again, I know that there are some really nice flea and tick sprays on the Dogley shop. So make sure you go and check out all of the great products that are for sale here on Dogley. And so, like I said, any product that you use, you want to make sure that it's been specifically formulated for pets so that it's safe. But that one uses a really nice combination of essential oils and vitamin E and all kinds of really nice things for the skin and coat. So that's what we use, and we are in a pretty high tick area here in Ontario. We're also at the cottage on weekends, out in the woods, doing trail hikes and all that kind of stuff, and swimming. And as I said, we have been tick-free. We've got 3 dogs here. We've been tick-free for 5 years. So this has worked for us, and also thousands of other customers who are using the same products that we are. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about how flea and tick preventatives work. So I just want to explain how most of them do work. So a lot of those names that I read to you that were on the FDA warning list, basically how it works is it's either topically applied or there's a pill that's ingested, and it works on the dog's whole body. And so basically what it does is it makes their blood toxic to fleas and ticks. So what has to happen is a flea or a tick has to actually bite your dog and ingest the blood in order to be killed off. This can take up to 72 hours according to some of the manufacturing websites of some of these products. And Lyme can be transmitted in under 24 hours. There's a lot of gray area out there. There's some people say in as little as 8 hours, some say it takes 24 hours. Regardless, it can happen in less than 72 hours, that's for sure. So there is still the potential for transmission of these diseases, and also the tick has had to bite your dog. So what I prefer is to use something that repels them in the first place, as opposed to having to have them bite the dog. And so that's what the EM collars do. They work to repel the tick in the first place. So they are not biting the dog, then being killed off. They're being repelled and not attracted to bite the dog in the first place, which to me is much less risky. So I mentioned a couple of other things too, like coconut oil. This isn't something that we have personally used, but I do know people who do use it. And so how coconut oil works is it contains lauric acid. And basically what happens is when you coat your dog with coconut oil, any flea or tick that goes onto your dog, they get their exoskeleton gets coated with the coconut oil, which contains the lauric acid, and it kills them. So basically, you have to be diligent about when you're going outside. You've got to lather your dog up in the coconut oil. You can make it into a spray, and there's some really cool companies out there like Coco Therapy, which you can check out, and they actually explain how to make a nice coconut oil treatment or spray. And there are some other great benefits to coconut oil as well. It's moisturizing, can help with skin and coat, even reducing yeast. So that's another option. It's not one that we have used, but there are lots of other options out there as well. So using all of this information, what we can do from here is what I recommend doing is going, checking out the article, which I'm going to post the link to. Read the list again of products that the FDA has warned about. Check to see what you're using on your pets. And then think about using some natural alternatives instead. And again, this is all about looking at long-term health. So reducing the amount of chemicals, helping keep the immune system healthy, creating longevity and long-term health. So there are a lot of people that don't see immediate side effects of these preventatives. But again, it doesn't mean that it's not creating a load on your dog's system. So anytime that we can avoid using things like this, it's much better for our dog. And again, it's setting them up for long-term health. And when we do have effective, safe alternatives, which do work, then this is a good alternative, and you're not risking your pet by using natural alternatives. Instead, we are using things that have been shown to be effective and really do work. And we're just doing that in a much more safe and natural way. So what I recommend doing from here is, again, checking to see what you are currently using for flea and tick preventatives, and see if you could implement some of these natural alternatives instead. So you can look up what the risk of ticks are in your geographic location. It varies depending on where you are. But really, we have seen, I have customers in both Canada and the United States who are using these with high success. So really check to see if you think that this is something that you could implement, any of these natural alternatives or a combination of them to use instead of these chemical preventatives. And that's step one in creating longevity and long-term health for your pet. Stay tuned because we have a couple more segments in this workshop. So we're going to talk about safe vaccinating and how to lighten the load on your pet's immune system. And we're also going to talk about things that you may not have thought of that are really common things around the house, out in your environment, that may be creating a toxic load on your pet, and how we can address those and use more green alternatives. So really simple things that we can do in our everyday lives to set our pets up for long-term health. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please do comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you have other things that you use for natural preventatives, I'd love to hear about those too. So yeah, this has been just the start to our first of many workshops to come. So thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts.